we might as well say goodbye to the guys that are moving on to the next level, or certainly hope to be. And one guy has no worries, at least technically, in that concern. And that would be the guy on display first and foremost, Mr. Cam Ward.
Number one on your program, number one on his jersey, number one in your heart, Cameron Ward. Yeah, put on a show. He did exactly what he set out to do, which was showcase his prodigious talent. I thought that it was a very strong pro day. Wasn't perfect because nobody's perfect. He missed a couple throws. His speed outs to the right-hand side specifically were like a lot of them were complete, but the ball placement a little bit too far inside, which, at the NFL level is problematic. But he had a lot of really good ball placement on, throws between the numbers, the ones that are like right here in front of you, even to the left side and whatnot. He was really, really pinpoint. Overthrew a couple or one flag route to the left. Like he had a ball that like slipped out of his hand on a speed out to the right. So then he was like, hold on, man, let's do this again. Bring it back for the wide receiver because, the wide receivers were being evaluated on the reps as well. He was like, that's on me. Run that back. I did say, at the end when they ran whatever triple reverse throwback trick play to Cam Ward in the end zone, I was like, okay, we've lost the plot and this needs to be the last play. And it was. So yeah, that was good. But when you had the GM, president of football operations, head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, 2 other personnel people, and 4 social media or content creation staffers from the TV side and from the social media side from the Tennessee Titans, who pick at 1, all there at the same time. Come on. And Cam made a nice throw running to his left to Elijah Arroyo, and it was a dot. And he was running over towards that group as he made that throw. And he said something, but basically on the live reaction, I think it was Juan Manuel said, basically, are you not entertained? He did everything that he needed to do and showed exactly who he is on the field. Moreover, there have been several people who said, that they've been to many pro days, listed all of the quarterbacks of the last 3 years and said that the pro day throwing session from Cam Ward was the most impressive they've seen. It was somebody on NFL Network. I saw that come down. And then called out, I was at Drake May. I was at Jaden Daniels. I was at these ones. And that was the best that I've ever seen from a professional evaluator. So, there was that. And then, several other people like Louis Riddick was there, and he said it was super strong. So I'm giving you the additional information. So it's not just me, not just Cam, who went to Miami and, creates content about Miami. Unaffiliated people with the University of Miami saying these things. And the biggest positive, I believe, or positives kind of went hand in hand. Number one, both ACC Network and NFL Network had expansive, basically just spotlights on the University of Miami. We didn't really see many of the other drills that were run because it was like, oh, we're interviewing people and we're showing this and we're doing that. And it was just basically a couple hours worth of hype and commercial for the University of Miami football program, which I love. And in all of that, they reiterated Cam Ward was very intentional and said, hey, I know that I could throw at the combine. I know I could do that there. I could do those things. But this is a team game, and I played with a team, and I want the guys who were on my team that helped me have the success that I had to get the spotlight. And as the ACC Network host, I forget her name, Taylor, I believe it is, said, basically a rising tide or a high tide raises all ships, kind of a thing. So I know 32 teams are going to be here. I know there's going to be GMs, coaches, evaluators from all of the NFL teams here are going to Miami. So I'm going to save my throwing session specifically because my light shines bright, and I want the others on this team to be able to have the eyes on them as well at the same time. So I thought that was really, really impactful in a positive way, shows the kind of person that he is, the leader that he is. yeah, just was able to have, the University of Miami front and central for 4 p.m. till about 6:45 on 2 national TV networks at the same time. So that was really, really cool. In terms of the bench press numbers came out, some of the vertical jump numbers came out, and things like that. You didn't really see too many of those other position drills. They did showcase Xavier Restrepo running his. It wasn't the three. Well, they showed the 3-cone drill, the 5 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards back to the middle, the 20-yard drill. They showed the L drill too, so you go down and up and you did that one thing. And yeah, but I mean, a lot of those were going on in the background of the interviews and everything. Something not for this year's draft, but I will say, Markel Bell is a giant. And he was standing in the background of when Damien Martinez ran thumb drill. And it was just like, how's the air up there, Stretch? You could see, I guarantee you, every team who was there saw him and was like, okay, he's not in this draft, but put it on the list. Get the all 22, this kid, because he's a giant. So that was good. The passing drills, skeleton, whatever you want to call it, the throwing section with the receivers and Cam Ward was really good. Everybody showcased what they could do. It was funny. Both broadcast. I was watching on NFL Network more because I appreciate their commentary more during the actual session. And they were like, "Yeah, man, sometimes they run these short routes and they give time for the receivers to catch their breath." And I was like, "Oh, you haven't caught on to the fact that all of the very short routes were Cam McCormick on the rep. He's running a spot route. He's running a stop route. He's running, stick, run to the sticks and turn around. He ran one vertical route. He ran a seam in red zone, but a 9th-year tight end who blew out his knee 6 times or whatever. Like, yeah, fine. Hey, look, I'm not hating. I promise you. It's just like, look, but you can't do what Elijah Arroyo does. You can't do what Jacoby George or Xavier Restrepo does. And I love that they didn't have him do that. They were like, look, you can start off, it's block and release. It's these quick little hookups, finding spaces. Because that's where if you can find a role, it's doing that. It's not doing the physical freak stuff that the physical freaks can do. I just thought it was funny because every time they were like talking about, oh yeah, that's a real quick route, or oh, that's just a button hook or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's because who's running it. But overall, yeah, it was a strong day. There was one major negativo. Falconer TRX brings it up. FSU and FSU are chirping. X was slow at Pro Day, but beat both. Both teams. Yeah. Shane the Cane. X's shuttle time at Pro Day would have been the 8th fastest at the combine, which is 4.21 for a short shuttle. Short burst and great route runner. FSU and UF wish that they had him. Yeah. I get all that. But Xavier Restrepo running a 40 was malpractice, honestly. And I just think it was pride over good sense. And I said this on social media. Restrepo ran 4.82 and 4.83, 4.84 in his 2 exactly. Now I think at the end they were trying to say, oh, the official was 4.76, which is still would make him the slowest. Sorry, the receiver with the slowest 40 time ever drafted if he were drafted. Because I believe currently it's 4.75 is the slowest receiver ever to be drafted. And I heard from someone who was there and then a couple other people who were there who told me on Friday, Restrepo was told not to run. The advice given to him was like, do not run the 40. And he said, no, I'm going to do it, which I believe was prideful. It just was. And so that was my thought. And like, I know these people, I trust these people who were there. So then I'm saying, okay, if they're telling me they heard Restrepo being told not to run, and he said, no, I'm going to go run, pride. And I don't agree with it. And before you jumped down my throat, Elijah Arroyo didn't run his 40 either, but he you have him on tape running 21, almost 22 miles an hour. You had him doing all the position drills at a speed that's not going to engender conversation of a negative way. Restrepo, if he would have not ran the 40, run the short shuttle, which would have been 8th fastest at the combine, and ran the drills, it's not a talking point. But he did. Then he comes out on Twitter Tuesday morning, says, well, I don't usually talk on social media. I don't pay attention to what people saying, but now I got to say something. When I was warming up, I hurt my right hamstring, so I wasn't in prime physical condition. And I've been training, with Nick Bomarito and whoever else. So I've been 4.53 to 4.58 laser timed for 2 weeks. And I thought I could do that even if I was not at 100%, and Pride. That's your pride. Because now you have, from what I had heard from multiple independent people, right, that he was told not to run on Monday. Then he coming out, I hurt myself but while I was getting prepped to go run. That circle of knowledge is complete. So everybody in your corner saw you tweak a hamstring and then said, don't run. You don't got to do this if you're not 100% healthy. Then you did it. Now you don't put on tape. It's all over social media. You have it. When I timed it, because I saw Safid Din from the Miami Herald, he tweeted a video of the second run. He says about 4.8-ish. I clocked, just using my phone timer, which is inaccurate. But I mean, just watching it and then trying to count, I got 4.78 on that run, which is 2 100s away from 4.8. So I'm like, even with that, which might have been a little bit early, honestly, I don't even know. But like, bro, so all of that. And he's like, well, basically, and like, look, I get I'm a God-fearing Christian and everything, like I believe that my steps are ordered and like everything, but just like, dude, you also have good sense and free will. If you have counsel and they're telling you, look, you yourself said, yeah, I was warming up, but my hamstring don't feel right. And multiple people are telling you, then don't run, don't do the 40. Because again, right here, your short shuttle, elite. You go out here and all of a sudden, and he was running routes as running back, right? He's running flat routes, option routes, Texas routes. He's showing other things in the passing game that are like, yo, on top of what you put on film. If all of that together and you didn't run the 40, this is a very different thing. Now you're doing damage control on the back end, and I think that that's malpractice. This is the same thing that happened with the bowl game when Mario Cristobal refused to make a simple statement saying it was always the plan for Cam Ward to come out at halftime. And you let the entire sports world excoriate Cam Ward for 10 days before you finally hopped on the microphone and did something. Why at every point are we doing damage control? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Buddy, you didn't have to do this at your biggest audition in front of all of these teams. And look, again, just look at the difference in the tone of the conversation for Elijah Arroyo, who's still injured, has put things on film and didn't run a 40 at a little bit and not 100%, versus Xavier Restrepo, who fought through because, all I know is compete and everything. You ain't got no good sense to know, my body is maybe not 100% to do my best. It's frustrating to me because I want the best for him. Now, there's the other part of things of what Xavier Restrepo has put on film. All-time career leading receiver, catches, yards, touchdown in Miami Hurricanes history. And like I know people say, well, he ran 4.83. Doesn't matter. It matters, but it's not everything. You know what I mean? Like it is. I just hate that that's part of the conversation now. I think that his stock has definitely fallen from, potential second round pick where like he's firmly 4 or 5 or later now. And that I hate that overshadows everything else that he did in his career, that he did in this pro day and everything. I just think it's just such a terrible decision. I just think it was super duper prideful and it sucks, but like it's out there now. And so, hey, learn, grow or whatever, but especially when you say, I knew that I wasn't near my best and elected to do it anyway. I just think that was foolish, and it's rough, but it is what it is.
So not necessarily that it was shown during Cam Ward's performance in Pro Day, but I'm guessing you've read quite a few scouting reports and mock drafts, and this list is going to be rather short. But what are supposedly his weaknesses or shortcomings?
Whom?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. The main thing that he needed to do this year was play on time in the pocket. And that was the thing that Shannon Dawson talked about in his interview with ACC Network, and it's all over film. Like I said last week when Nate Tice was going over and looking at things, and people said, "Oh, he couldn't do that." So like that's just a thing where you have to look. He has good but not elite arm talent or arm strength. I would personally give him, like an A minus. Fred was saying he would give like a firm A on arm strength. I'm not going to go there. But I think that he has an NFL arm. It's above league average. It's not legendary though. He's not Jeff George, Dan Marino, Josh Allen, Jamarcus Russell with that kind of howitzer. He has a very good arm though. To my eye, the deep ball hangs a little bit sometimes with Cam Ward. And also, just the propensity to hold the ball in search of the big play. I think those are the things that are being talked about. Also, he's 6'1" 3/8", so he's not elitely, he doesn't have elite height. And that's just, part and parcel of things. Quick hands, very strong arm, improving ball placement, but there's still room for growth, even with the growth that I think we saw on Monday. That is part of his game. He's a voracious leader, a ferocious leader, and he's a great teammate and representative of your organization and program. Those are strong things, and he just has, he is by far the most talented quarterback in this class. So if you're looking for one and need one, like Tennessee is at number one, then you need look no further. Cam Ward does have private workouts with both Tennessee and Cleveland at 2 scheduled in the next couple of days. So we'll see exactly what they do with those. I tweeted out when the Titans workout was reported that basically they're going to have him do every throw possible in their playbook. And like every throw in the world is not necessarily a throw in your playbook, you know what I mean? But anyone that could be in the playbook, they're going to have him do. I'll be interested to see, what his Cleveland workout is also, but I would, surmise something along those same lines. But yeah, his ceiling is definitely higher than anybody in this draft. There are some who believe that Shedeur Sanders' floor is higher. I don't necessarily agree. I think the variance for Shedeur Sanders is much narrower. I will say that. But I think that, again, when we looked at the performance hex scores for Cam Ward and Pat Mahomes last week from their last year in college, not saying they're the same player, but looking at the performance, ratings and everything, I think that it's a very similar thing where Cam Ward, like Patrick Mahomes has spoken about the fact that he raised his risk profile to make some wild kind of plays because he knew he was playing with plumbers and electricians, right? Cam Ward didn't do that, but especially at Miami with that incredible offensive line where he would have 8 and 9 second plays, like scanning the field from sideline to sideline 2 and 3 times. He would do that in search of the home run ball because he had the ability to do that. And I think that that's been described as lowering his floor for performance in the NFL, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that is a change in output that will need to happen when he goes to the league.